Professor Akmal. Before we move on the content of the presentation, let me introduce myself. My name is Sunita Serbalan, and I will introduce the summary of the movie that we choose, which is Tara Zameen Par. Tara Zameen Par revolves around a student with learning disabilities and a teacher who helps the student to cope up with his learning disabilities throughout his learning journey in the boarding school. We choose this movie because we managed to find a few key concepts of pragmatisms and behaviorisms in terms of the teaching methods used by the different teachers and the relationship between students and the teachers, which forms the rest of the stories. This task or project provides us an insight on how to use or how to apply this theory in educational perspective or context as future teachers, so that we can access and evaluate our students reasonably using a very holistical approach. My own finding, I found one of the key principles of pragmatism in the movie is learning by doing. This is because I believe Ram is a pragmatic teacher where he is really well aware of his students' diverse needs and he is responsible to cater to them. So in one of these scenes, he able to conduct a project-based learning, which is a student-centered learning method that he conducted in his classroom. He brought his students out to the school compound and instructed them to be creative and innovate enough to create an item or object for this particular project. This shows that he really prioritized the students' learning through self-discovery and experience. This is because he believed that self-discovery allows a student to understand more on the subject and on the content of the lesson. And he didn't judge the students uh, based on their discovery or the item that they have created, because he prioritized the outcomes rather than the students succumbing to the rote learning. So as a pragmatic teacher, he really applied this key principle, which is learning by doing, which managed to help Ishan as well, as he is a visual learner. And this method helps him to engage himself in the classroom activity, and where he can improve his interpersonal and intrapersonal skill so that he can communicate and collaborate with his other classmates as well.
Another key concept of pragmatism that can be found in this movie is customized teaching. Ram, as a pragmatic teacher, had customized his teaching methods in order to accommodate his students' needs. He doesn't blindly follow rigid curriculum and instead creates his own teaching materials based on the students' interests to suit their learning styles. For example, Ram had incorporated art in the curriculum after recognizing Ishan's love in art. He provides opportunities for Ishan to showcase his creativity by assigning art projects to him. Ram, as a pragmatic teacher, had promotes individualism in his teaching methods by recognizing their uniqueness that can be found in each student.
So from this movie, Teri Zameen Par, certainly experiential learning is a key aspect of pragmatism in education, and it plays a significant role. Experiential learning involves learning through direct experience, active participation, and reflection on those experiences. So for the first one, it's active participation, which is Nikamsa encourage Ishan to actively participate in artistic activities such as painting, drawing, and sketching. So experiential learning promotes engagement and motivation by making learning more meaningful and relevant to the learner's interests, and learning is inherently personalized, allowing individuals to learn at their own pace and in their own way.
So moving on to how behaviorism theory is used in this movie. So firstly, is the use of positive reinforcement, where Ishan's art teacher Ram, he stands out for his supportive and empathetic approach, unlike other teachers who had used punishment. So Ishan's teacher Ram, he had focused on reinforcing positive behaviors and had nurtured Ishan's talents, especially in visual arts. So Ram has consistently praised Ishan and created a safe space where Ishan feels valued. So Ram's approach, it reflects behaviorism's principle of positive reinforcement. So as a result, in the end, in the movie, Ishan had gained confidence and had excelled in arts and also in academics. So this actually highlights how positive reinforcement actually fosters personal growth and also academic success. And that will be all for me. I will pass the time to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nusha Kamiti Norzadi. So now I would like to discuss about how classical conditioning is applied in the movie There Is An Par. So in this film, classical conditioning involved pairing a neutral stimulus with a meaningful one to elicit a desired response. So Nikum, which is an art teacher, utilized classical conditioning to help Ishan overcome his fear of numbers. So by associating math with enjoyable experience through games and also storytelling, Nikum transformed Ishan's perception of the subject from negative to positive. This example demonstrates how environmental stimuli can shape behavior and also emotional response, as it highlights the importance of fostering a supportive learning environment for children with learning difficulties like dyslexia.
Next is observation. Ishan's behavior and emotion are greatly influenced by his dyslexia evidence in his frustration with academic tasks and his strong creativity in art.
So as his teacher, I would prioritize offering alternative reading strategies tailored to Ishan's pace and also needs, as it can avoid any form of taunting. So providing one-on-one tutoring session and also emotional supports can somehow significantly boost his confidence and also overall well-being. So by fostering a nurturing environment, we empower students like Ishan to reach their full potential academically and also emotionally. Not only that, but as a teacher, I would also emphasize the importance of addressing the special educational needs of students like Ishan.
He exhibits shyness but forms close friendship, particularly with Nikum, underscoring the importance of supportive mentors in his growth. Initially, distant Asian's parents undergo a transformation, becoming a source of love and support, which significantly contribute to his overall well-being.
Setting realistic expectation for students like Ishan. So as his teacher, I would prioritize creating a supportive environment where every student feels valued. So I would avoid doing a public comparison, as they can embarrass Ishan and undermine his confidence. Additionally, I refrain from using peer pressure as a motivator, as it can somehow let the students feel anxiety. So instead, I would focus on recognizing each student's unique and also abilities, as it can celebrate their progress rather than comparison. So by fostering this environment, we empower students like Ishan to succeed on their own terms. As a teacher, I would tailor my teaching style to accommodate various learning styles. So this would also involve incorporating visual aids, hands-on activities, and a verbal explanation to cater to different modalities. I would also offer a flexibility in homework to allow students like Ishan to showcase their understanding through mediums that suit her learning style. So by embracing this learning diversity, we create an inclusive environment where every student can thrive well. Last but not least, I think by using a negative reinforcement would somehow give a good impact to promote desired behavior in the classroom. So instead of punitive measure, I would prioritize a negative reinforcement. So for example, let's say if Ishan couldn't finish their homework on time, I would not let him move to the next chapter during the class session.
Reason about the argumentative analysis. So for the first one is as pessimistic teachers. So what I can do is I will do a personalized attention to Ishan, because as we all know, Ishan has a disability dyslexia. So we have as a teacher, I will give a personalized attention to him, because from this personalized attention, we can identify Ishan's strengths and weaknesses and allowing for support. For example, Ishan may require a different teaching approach, so or additional support for him, especially. So for the second one is lack of resources, like so what can I do is I will do a creative teaching resources, because from this we can help those who faced in difficulties in education, and can help Ishan in better understand in materials that the teachers will use. One is comparison, which is what I can do is offer a constructive feedback, which is that can help Ishan to understand how to improve without comparing him to others, because as we all know, he faced dyslexia. So to improve the educations for him, we have to do some feedback for him, so he can know like what the things that he will improve without comparing him to others. Because every student has unique strengths and weaknesses. If I was a teacher, or I as a teacher, I will do a family counseling. From this, I can offer a family counseling station to help Ishan and his parents to communicate and understand each other better. This can help address the underlying issues and strengthen family bonds. And he loves arts. So from this, I can convince his parents to send him to art school or something like border school that focus on this arts creative thing. So I am a teacher, or I was a teacher, I will differentiate instructions for a student in class, implement differentiated instruction, address the diverse learning needs of students. And the nurturing part is I will implement a positive reinforcement, such as utilizing positive reinforcement strategies to encourage desired behavior. And for this reinforcement, I will give rewards to students who achieve the efforts and who achieve the exam and something like that. So from this, Ishan can increase his potential in a good ways. Not only that, I will provide something like counseling for convince both of his parents and a teacher to not punish Ishan in a harsh way or use a.
Now I'll be presenting the argumentative analysis. The first one will be pessimistic teacher. If I was Ishan's teacher, I would create separate teaching materials, which is much more simpler because, as we all know, Ishan has learning disability, which is dyslexia. The second one, I will be preparing extra notes and exercises for him to help him improve his grades. The third one will be I'll be paying closer attention to him in class. For example, ask questions based on the lesson to him so that I can understand his level of understanding regarding the topic that was being taught in class. The second analysis is lack of resources. As Ishan's teacher, since he has dyslexia, I will search and learn more about this learning disability so that I can understand his struggle better. From my research, I will then create simple quizzes with simpler instructions or even highlighted the keywords in the sentences so that Ishan can answer the questions easier. Then from all the information I've gathered, I will then write research paper on dyslexia and publish them on the internet so that I can help bring awareness to other people regarding this learning disability. The third one will be comparison. As Ishan's teacher, I will not compare my students, especially those that has learning disability like Ishan. Instead, I will acknowledge the differences among the students and encourage them to work together so that they can overcome the obstacles together. Then, I will set rules in the classroom, such as no discrimination to anyone. If ever they break these rules, they will get punished, such as they has to stand outside the classroom for the entire lesson. The fourth one in this argumentative analysis will be parent selection. If I was Ishan's parents, I would consult with the homeroom teacher, his classmates, his close friends, or anyone that is close to him and ask them how he's doing in school, whether he's being bullied in school so that I can know his situation. Not only that, I will also talk to Ishan so that I can better understand his thoughts, his way of thinking, his side of the story, so that he doesn't feel like he's being left in the dark and not being heard. At the same time, I will also bring him to counseling in order to help him fix his problem. While for me, I will also attend a counseling session so that I can seek advice from professionals on how to overcome this situation so that Ishan doesn't feel like he's alone in this matter. The fifth argumentative analysis is single teaching method or teacher-centered classroom. As Ishan's teacher, I will try to figure out the student's academic level through surveys. From the answers that the students gave out in the survey, I will conduct research on learning disabilities if they have one so that I can better understand their struggles. From that, I can come up with exercises that suit the level so that each student receive equal knowledge. The last one will be punishments. For this, I have 3 steps. First is for example, if Ishan did something wrong, I will not bluntly punish him on the spot. I will instead ask him first why he do it. The next one, I will give him a stern warning, and by telling him that if he does it again, if he repeats the same mistake again, I will finally give him punishments. And like I said, if he breaks the rules, I will finally give him punishments, suitable punishments, which doesn't include or doesn't involve beating. I will just simply tell him to stay after school to clean the toilets. This way, he can stop himself from doing the mistake, and if ever he feels like doing it again, he will think twice because no one likes doing punishments. That is all from me. Thank you.
As for the first issue that was found in the movie, which is pessimistic teachers, if I was Ishan's teacher, I would confront him and ask what kind of problem that he is having, and of course I will think optimistically and be open-minded so that he will rely on me positively and he won't categorize me as one of the pessimistic teachers. And of course, I will collaborate with other mental health teachers too to ask about Ishan's progress and updates in class so that I'll be able to know that his progress and how to help him with that. And moving on to the second issue, which is lack of resources. If I was the Ishan's teacher, I won't wait until the school find a solution for the learning disability such as dyslexia. I will do my own mini research and of course consult with subject matter expertise to know more on the learning disabilities such as dyslexia, and I will try to find a search for a way for Ishan to cope with his learning disabilities as his class teacher. And the third issue is the comparison, which happens both in Ishan's home and at school. So if I was Ishan's teacher, I wouldn't do such a thing because it is not an ideal thing to do as an effective teacher. So I would probably more make it as a habit of expressing and verbalizing Ishan's strength and ability in his creative arts. And also this way it will be able to avoid peer comparisons as well, because it will not produce a conducive environment for students to learn and it will hinder their learning process. As for the fourth issue that is found in the movie, which is parents' neglectations, if I was Ishan's teacher, I would call the parents to the school and have a parent-teacher meeting or session with them. In the session, I will mention to the parents that not all children are born the same, and each children each children have different learning abilities. And it is the parents' responsibility to nurture and cater to their children's diverse needs and their field of expertise instead of sending them to the boarding school without thinking what they want. As for the fifth issue, which is the single teaching method, if I was Ishan's teacher, I would use an inclusive teaching method in the classroom. For example, I would use student-centered learning, where I will facilitate and I will expect the students to actively participate in the classroom activity. I would also try to incorporate 21st century learning, as it caters the students with different learning abilities, such as Ishan. Ishan is a visual learner, so this learning method will be able to help him to discover his learning disabilities and work towards how to remove that learning barrier that is being his challenge of his learning journey. As for the last issue, which is the punishment, if I was Ishan's teacher, I would use reinforcement rather than punishing the students, because I believe that negative reinforcement would engage in students' behavior, because if I apply them correctly, I believe that it will contribute to a long-lasting changes among the students. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Good day to Sir Akmal. My name is Vanessa Vincent, and I'll be presenting on my argumentative analysis of this movie. So the first issue which is found in this movie is pessimistic teachers. So in the movie, the teachers they used to taunt Ishan and demotivate him because he is a little slow in his academic. So my argumentative analysis here is, as Ishan's teacher, I tailor my teaching to suit each student's needs, including Ishan's. So I discover his talents and interests and integrate them into lessons through practical exercises. I'd also create a safe classroom environment and encourage experimentation and collaboration. So by offering personalized learning, constructive feedback and support, I empower Ishan to overcome challenges and thrive in his academics. So the second issue which is found in this movie is the lack of resources, where in the movie, no one was aware of Ishan's condition and no one could understand and help him in his academics. So as Ishan's teacher, I adapt my teaching to suit his needs by focusing on his strengths, which is in visual arts. So I use specialized techniques to support his learning and also create a supportive environment. So by valuing his individuality, recognizing his progress and offering support, I help Ishan overcome challenges and succeed in his academics and also personally. So the third issue which is found in this movie is comparison, where the teachers tend to compare Ishan to other students and they are not actually aware of Ishan's individual talents and abilities. So my argumentative analysis here is, as Ishan's teacher, I prioritize creating a welcoming and inclusive classroom where every child is celebrated for their individual strengths and abilities. So regardless of how Ishan compares himself to others, I highlight his talents and praise his achievements. And I'll do this by using positive reinforcement. So I motivate him and boost his self-esteem and also address any bias or comparison among the students. And I would also, in the classroom, I would also promote empathy and appreciation for each other's uniqueness. So by fostering acceptance and gratitude, as a teacher, I will be helping Ishan realize his full potential and value as a student. So moving on to the fourth issue, which is found in this movie, is parents' neglection. So this is where Ishan's father, he had never thought to figure out the reason behind Ishan's fluctuating behavior at home. Instead, he decided to enroll Ishan to a boarding school in hoping for a change in his behavior. This had eventually made Ishan to shut them out completely. So as Ishan's teacher, I'd actually prioritize open communication with his parents who get a better understanding to address his behavior. So together with the parents, we would focus on creating a supportive home environment, which is actually essential for Ishan's growth. Furthermore, I also help them to see the value in addressing the root causes of his behavior instead of just fighting for quick fixes. So by providing continuous support and encouragement both at home and in school, Ishan will begin to feel appreciated. I also foster an environment where Ishan feels valued and empowered so that he could overcome obstacles in school. And then the fifth issue which is found in this movie is the only practice of single teaching method. So in this movie, the teachers only practice teacher-centered approach in their classroom, which made Ishan to have difficulties in following the lesson due to this condition. So as Ishan's teacher, I focus on a student-centered approach in the classroom, and I'll do this by giving him and his classmates the freedom to actively participate and collaborate with each other. So I empower the students to take charge of their education and present their knowledge in their own way. I will also create a respectful and inspiring environment, and I also encourage Ishan to thrive in this learning journey. And the last issue which is found in this movie is the usage of punishments, where the parents and the teachers punished Ishan for his undesired behaviors, which had eventually lead him to become depressed. So the reason to this is because the teachers and the parents, they do not know the cause of his behavior and could only think of punishment to stop his undesired behavior, just like any other ordinary children. So my argumentative analysis here is, as Ishan's teacher, I go for a more supportive and positive strategy over harsh punishments. So I do this by prioritizing kindness and empathy to address his issue. So because I know that punishment would harm his self-esteem, and I also foster an environment where in the classroom where mistakes are viewed as opportunities for growth. So I help Ishan build resilience and confidence both academically and emotionally.
So the first one is pessimistic teachers. For my first point is a variety of teaching methods. So if I were a Asian teacher, I would use a variety of teaching methods to identify which one is the most effective one and comfortable for him. I would do by following the modern teaching techniques, as we all know traditional methods may not be as effective in today's modernized world. So next is a parent neglection. So the first point is focusing on the difference between children. So I believe that every child is unique in their own way. Instead of comparing them to others who are completely normal, our single teaching method, teacher-centered classroom. So as if I a teacher of Ishan, I would use the student-centered method because this approach would ensure that Ishan feels included and valued within the classroom environment. We will aim to help Ishan and other students understand the content of what we did. So next, if I be the teacher of Ishan, I will make a cheat conduct or inappropriate behavior.
Thank you.